Welcome, everybody, to Robot Builders Night Virtual for Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Tonight, we will do our normal roundtable of robot presentations and then open the floor up for any questions or comments. Housekeeping, so far, the only thing I have on our plate is Moon Day 2026. Will take place July 18th at the Frontiers of Flight Museum. DPRG is looking for volunteers to attend and show off projects. So if you're interested in helping out, get in touch with Mark. He'll point you to the way. So tonight, first presenter is Ray. So Ray, if you're ready, we'd love to hear you.
Okay. Okay, here, let's see if we can get this to work. Guess I'm going to do a window. Working, picture, and that's not what I want. Okay, maybe just entire screen. Okay. Screen, that figures.
I don't know if you would have clicked on show my screen anyway, what it would do.
Oh, yeah. Don't you just get an infinity mirror? Let's see.
Not sure.
Select the tab to share. Okay. Actually, here, tell you what. I don't need to do that just yet. I can share that afterwards. If you can, just pin me and I'll show you direct. This is a little hokey, but Okay, so one of the things that I did, I made an ESP32 LoRa transmitter, mainly because the range in LoRa is really pretty good. So, and that's basically the unit. And what I wanted this for was to control a mowing robot. So for the most part, well, there's a switch on the front of it, and I can put it in autonomous mode or kind of radio controlled mode. So I'm just going through what's on the platform. That's a RoboClaw. It's an ESP32 with LoRa. There's a B&O 055, a display, OLED display. And the video is not the greatest video, but mostly of grass. Not of the platform. Anyway, so when I click it and click the switch, it should start off. Yeah, I'm in RC mode there. And then you need to bring it back. Say, come back here. So there, I'm about to turn it to autonomous mode. So what I wanted to simulate, and this video doesn't show this that great. There was other ones that showed it better. It's going to go down. Initially, I said 10 feet, but it's actually more like 20 feet. Pivot on one wheel. And okay, come on, pivot. Oh, it did pivot. It's hard to tell in the video. Anyway, so it came back to the run that it just did. So it kind of simulates mowing. You know, you go down, turn around, come back, you mow the next row, and you keep on going until your whole lawn is mowed. And it's similar to the other platforms. This was actually my first outdoor platform, and actually had to move it over in the video because I was getting a little too close to the house as it mowed the passes. So that's me adjusting things. And I think this next one actually shows it going down and coming back a little bit better. Yeah, so I can set the heading, just whatever number of degrees it is, and the length of the path and the number of times it repeats the path. So there it just went down and back, and you can kind of see the wheel tracks right there, and it should, hopefully, independent of any disturbances on the ground, clumps of grass, whatever. Yeah, there's where it's turning and pivoting on one wheel. Yep, I got stuck. I have a pretty small caster on the back of this one, and then the other ones I'm going to have a bigger caster, so hopefully that's not going to be an issue. But
Ray, are you using GPS to manage your autonomous mode?
Nope, just compass and odometry.
Okay.
So, yeah, there you can kind of see the track. It was.
Ray, what are your wheel diameters?
Those are almost 10 inches, like 9 3/4.
Okay.
Um,
I'm comparing it to the one I'm playing around building with 8-inch wheels.
Oh, okay.
Which is also 2-wheel differential.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so at one of the meetings, I guess it was Sensori, gave us these motors which hook into the big, fairly large wheels. They're like 8 inches in diameter and maybe a little bit bigger than 4 inches wide. They have a really nice splined hub. I took it apart. There's actually a bearing here and a seal, so that's kind of nice. So I really wanted to keep this piece attached, but on the back end they just had a single motor or single 1 pulse per revolution encoder.
Okay.
And I wanted to increase the count, so I had these little Polulu. I think the magnet has 10 poles, so quadrature you can get 20 pulses out of it. And they come with the little magnets, and I've actually drilled out the magnets before. That worked fairly well, and because the shaft size is like 5 millimeters, and the hole in the magnets that you get from Polulu are more like 2. I don't know what material the magnets are made out of, but it's fairly flexible. It's not metal, some sort of rubbery material, but it drills out okay. And so that goes in there on the shaft, and it's supported by a little ledge. And I have, let's see if I can get it to rotate in the right position. Yeah, so it sits in there like that, and then the magnet goes over the shaft. And then there's a little cap with a couple holes for the wire and a slit for the encoder wires. So just VCC ground and 2 outputs. And so instead of, 70, counts at the wheel, because it's a 70 to 1 reduction. Now I could get 700 counts or 1400 counts if I do both edges, so on both pulse trains. So anyway, I wanted to use those. I haven't, I've just powered them up to make sure they worked. I haven't actually put them on the back of a robot yet.
Sorry.
Oh, anyway, I was also looking at ways to get around GPS. or, not spending all kinds of money on GPS. And I was kind of hoping Paul or one of the other guys that are, Mark, are you doing the thing with Paul? No. Okay. With the mower. Let me see if I can actually get presenting to work. Okay. Let's see. EMI wire generator. Okay. Yeah, there was a thing that share. Hopefully you can. Yeah. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this was a transmitter and a receiver that Robot Shop put out. It's, less than $9, really pretty cheap. I think they said it would work with at least 300 feet of wire. And I think somebody tested it with quite a bit more. Seemed to work okay. I guess you just have to, make sure you have a certain resistance for the loop wire. So this one outputs, I don't know, I think pretty close to 33 kilohertz. And it actually has two sensors to, to sense. So you can put, a sensor, say, on either side of the robot. And when it comes close to the wire, it can sense it and then, move accordingly, however you want it to move. I'm going to stop presenting and show the other one. Sharing. See this. Yeah. Anyway, so whoops, I guess I got to present though, don't I? Okay, that one. I think it might be, yeah, that one. Okay. Oop. There it comes. Boy, that's slow. Anyway, so there's a pretty, I can't scroll this though, can I? What a pain. Anyway, so they actually, talk about this in great detail and, kind of show a way to prototype it. And they actually sell the little boards in that kit. So for less than $9, that's pretty good, I thought. So, but if you're curious how it works, it actually uses like an NE555 to generate a square wave at a certain frequency. It uses, I think, 12 volts for the 555, which I think you can run it on up to 15 volts. Anyway, that's the 555 is used to generate the square wave, and then on the other end, they just have it's referred to as a tank circuit. It's just an inductor, which is actually the sensor, and a capacitor. And it forms what's called a tank circuit. So tank circuits are kind of neat. You can hit them with one pulse and they'll ring, more or less. And so you can actually have it oscillate for some time after that one pulse is applied to it. And they're using, communications quite a bit. So, but anyway, so for $9, I thought that was kind of neat. It seems like, at least according to Copilot, that most of them, the robot mowers have them, the embedded wire, and Copilot's thinking is that it actually works pretty good. And so I'm kind of curious. I think for $9, I'm going to try it, see what it does. And it's a whole lot less than, I don't know what the cheapest GPS system I think that Paul found. What was it? Was it 75 for each unit?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Depending on taxes and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, So,
I think the biggest problem that people have with the installed line is the installation process and the failure modes and maintenance and stuff like that.
oh, okay. So failure modes, what, like wires breaking or corroding or
Yeah, all that
getting chopped up by the mower?
groundwater, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it looked like, you don't have to bury it. They showed I guess they were actually used in sprinkling systems, but they're these little pegs with a kind of a hook on the top, and you could, just stick the wire under it and basically stick it on the top of the ground versus underneath. I'm sure, underneath, yeah, it's going to protect it, but they were saying you could go like 2 inches down and it would still work. But yeah, going through water is kind of a weird thing. It can knock signals down pretty quickly. I know in telecom, even at 1.544 megahertz, you could just stop signals if it went through water, or water got in the casing of the wire, so you had a twisted pair sitting in water or something, surrounded by water. So yeah, I'm sure that can happen. Anyway, I was kind of curious. I was kind of hoping Paul and maybe some of the other guys that are looking into this would have an opinion on it. And it seems like, I don't know, maybe the easiest way to do it. And it's not so very sophisticated, but
I think it's probably why it was the first one out the gate, right? It didn't take much, and so they were the staple for years for robot mowers and
yeah. Anyway, there was another article. It seems like you can do them. You can boost the power up with like a motor driver versus just the output of an NE555. They show several circuits doing that. So, and with higher power levels, you could even run it off 24 volts if you wanted to. So anyway, I was, that's kind of what I'm exploring, and was just kind of curious. I know Paul goes for maximum, sophistication with his robots, and oh my God, if it doesn't have GPS, well. Anyway, there's let's see, where's the other one? There was another article over to where. I think, oh, that was Robot Shop. Yeah. Man, this is slow tonight. There we go. Anyway, so there's another one. This is using, instead of just the output of a NE555, they actually have an L298 that is what drives the perimeter wire, and they have a gotta forget what it's a Wemos something, basically a Wi-Fi connection, so you can turn it on and off remotely. So the other one doesn't have any of that, it doesn't have a processor or anything in it. So, but that's an example of one that's going to produce more power. And they had a couple different examples of those.
I think they had a little bit of details in their teardown, because the mower that they're retrofitting did have perimeter wire.
Okay.
And it had its own signal generator. And
it did, yeah.
Presumably it was still working. And that just wasn't part of their plan.
To use it, yeah.
To use it from the get-go, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I seem to remember him saying, as far as it being that type of solution, it was pretty robust.
Oh,
But
really? Okay.
that's just vague memory on my part.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, if it's simple, doesn't cost a lot, doesn't require, a huge transmitter or anything, lots of power, then
Then it's boring.
yeah. But, anyway. So that is what I've been looking at.
Well,
So Ray, did you actually use the compass, like the magnometer, or did you integrate the angular velocity?
I'm just using the BNO 055 as, just for yaw as a compass, and I try to maintain that heading. So within a velocity loop. So it looks at the compass and says, okay, how far off am I from whatever heading I want to be, and how do I adjust the velocities accordingly. It's just a linear relationship between the angle error and what's added or subtracted to a base velocity. The velocity forward, backward doesn't really change. It's fixed. So and as it rotates or pivots on either wheel, it's also constantly looking at the compass to say, okay, I'm either going at whatever initial heading I was told to go at, or that heading plus 180 degrees. So either goes out or comes back. So so it's pretty simple. I don't know. I'll have to test it on slopes to see, like, if I have a downward slope and I'm kind of traversing at an angle to that slope, does it maintain it? Or I'm sure there's, I'm not going to be able to go up a vertical incline and maintain, position, but there's small, like to go across my driveway, that's elevated with respect to the rest of the lawn. And, I was also kind of curious how well it would do over, clumps of grass and that kind of stuff.
Ray, how much do you figure your lawnmower weighs?
The platform that I showed you, I could use that as that weighs probably under 20 pounds, maybe 15 pounds. I have the 3-phase motors that drive the blades, but I don't have the blades. That wasn't part of the stuff that Sensori brought. So anyway, so the other mower that I'm thinking of putting this on is it's a gasoline engine mower. If I had to take a guess, maybe 75 pounds.
Oh, okay. All right. I just happened to be reading a review article on the new Segway autonomous lawnmower. I did not know Segway was in that business, but they built quite an interesting 4-wheel drive lawnmower.
Yep.
Differential GPS and cameras trained to detect many different kinds of objects as a way of not running into the wrong things.
Yep.
Very, very sophisticated and quite expensive. It weighs about 65 pounds.
Oh, 55? Yeah.
65, yeah.
Oh, 65. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the other things I was going to put on it was a TF Mini Plus, which is, they say it's good for like 12 meters outdoors. It's just a single point distance measurement device, and time of flight. I was going to put it on a servo and just scan well enough ahead so that, if an obstacle did appear in its way, it could, do evasive maneuvers and hopefully come back to about the same path.
The Segway claims to be able to handle slopes quite well. There must have been a typo in the article, because it said it was good for slopes up to 84 degrees, which I'm sure it cannot do. But
yeah, it'd be sliding downhill. So, yeah, I don't have anything anywhere near that, but I'm sure there's, just going to be things in the lawn. There's several different kinds of grass in the lawn, and some of it is, it grows in like bunches or clumps, clusters, whatever you want to call it, and it's walking over it, it definitely has a different feel. It's actually it's actually kind of springy, and it seems like it'll support a lot more weight than some of the other grasses will. Just they just bend over. So
well, this guy found that he had to cut his grass 2 or 3 times a week with this automatic lawnmower. I'm not quite sure why, but that seemed like a lot. So. And he lives in Texas, incidentally.
Oh yeah. He might have like St. Augustine, which is kind of a tough grass. It depends on where he is in Texas, but it seems like that's pretty common more in South Texas. I think one of the things that Paul was saying was the mowers that they were experimenting with really weren't designed for farm field kind of mowing, and it's basically meant to go on its way every day or two, kind of like you said, and give you that perfectly manicured lawn look, so like
yeah, they're meant to do light loads that way, light repeated multiple passes. Since it's fully automated, no skin off your back, right? You just
he made that point.
Let it go. Yeah.
Yep.
So especially with an electrically driven blade, that's going to improve your battery life, and just have it do its thing.
Yep.
As long as it doesn't get lost.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking, it's like you have to establish trust with your robot. So I was going to stick a FPV on it, and keep an eye on it, and figure out some sort of remote kill switch that, no, don't mow over the shrubs. So, but and the mower part, I mean, the blade or the engine could stall out, or I could run out of gas, and there's no feedback on that. So
he expressed quite a lot of pleasure with the fact that his lawnmower is activated through functions on his smartphone.
Oh yeah,
including automatic functions such that when he approaches it with his phone, it automatically turns off the anti-theft protection and the child proofing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, there's no children here, so no risk of that.
Well, it sounded like a pretty expensive lawnmower.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Steve Edwards, I forget what he said, it was I don't know, above 5,000 for his Yarbo. So pretty expensive mower. I mean, his lawn looked great. It had it looked like he had done like a crosshatch pattern. So all the cuts were diagonally orientated, and you could look across the whole lawn, and that angle didn't change, regardless of the slope or any of that stuff. So anyway, so that's what I had to present. So I did get 4 of these, 4 motors and 4 wheels, so I could do a 4-wheel drive platform, but I thought I'd try a 2-wheel first and see how it did. And
Ray, what are the ratings of the motor and gearbox you're using?
I just know it's 24 volts, 70 to 1. I don't know what the torque output is.
Okay.
But it's 70 to 1. I mean, and the wheels are like 8-inch wheels. I don't know if you've ever saw one. Hold on. So sorry, girl. Forgot you were behind me. Yeah, I know. Anyway, that's the motor wheel unit, and it's looks like it's got pretty good traction.
Yeah, those are beauties.
That's like that's the beginning.
Anyway. Sorry, girl.
Well, Ray, you could make 2 lawnmowers with the 4 motors.
Say that again.
You could make 2 lawnmowers,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh, it's not like
a backup.
yeah,
Tag team lawnmowers.
yeah. I did get extra solar panels for my solar array, and I thought about just setting up, 4-wheel drive with a solar panel on top, and
Daddy.
like a 250 watt panel, so it should provide most of the needs for a field mowing robot, and just let it go out there and top off the weeds, cut it, and I was even thinking of, instead of a rotating blade, do a chainsaw cutter that only turned on when it sensed a pretty thick stalk of a weed. So, and just let it roam the field. So,
Yeah, that's how he's been looking like these days.
but
He looks like
anyway,
I played with a hedge trimmer as a cutter for that kind of thing.
Oh, you
does a
did?
pretty,
Yeah.
it does a pretty good job. I just threw a hedge trimmer in the front of my robot,
Oh, all right. Yep.
let it tool around.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
Wasn't quite good enough to handle fine grass though.
Oh, but it would chop weeds down, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
easy.
Yep.
Well, you could put a pair of scissors with a servo on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I still believe in the one blade at a time approach.
Yeah. I have an older sickle bar mower, and that thing is useless. It jams up with grass very easy, and it's 8 foot long, and you can hang it over the edge of a wall of a pond. But if you're going too fast, or it's going through too thick grass, it'll break there's like a little wooden board that I think is a safety mechanism if you're forcing the blade to go when it shouldn't go, that it actually breaks the board.
shitty
Yeah.
That sounds like a feature to me.
Yep.
On the burner.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise it'll like metal fatigue the end of one of the cutter bars, and it'll break. So, but yeah,
That's just protecting the machine against bad operator decisions.
yeah. Like replacing the wood one because it broke too often with a metal one. But yep. Cut for a while really strongly, and then after that, not so much. But anyway, yeah, that's a good idea. A hedge trimmer, maybe a battery operated one. You could just,
That's what I had on it. Yeah.
have it run off its own power source, and just turn it on when you get to it.
The problem is that all of the off-the-shelf ones are configured right so that the oscillating mechanism is off of one end, right? So it sticks way out the edge of the robot or the mower or whatever like that. So you gotta basically reconfigure the blades, and then it becomes a big project.
Oh, yep. Yeah, only one of the blades moves, right? The other one's just a bunch of teeth.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no bearings; it's just sliding on a greased
Right.
surface.
Slide.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, same thing with sickle bars mowers. There's no you can, I don't know if you if you have a source of beef tallow, you can rub it all over the thing, and it's not a synthetic grease that you're distributing in your field.
You
So,
just got to run it into a cow every once in a while.
there you go. Yeah. So, anyway, that's all I had.
Well, thanks, Ray. That
Hopefully
was
I'll have a mower here shortly and show a video of that.
That was good, and I believe you had it showing it autonomously running, doing its path down the grass.
Yeah.
So that would qualify for a gold star.
All right. Damn, I'm doing good.
Yay.
You are running mower and a gold star.
Yep.
So that was it for our list of presenters. So I don't know if anyone else has something they'd like to show or discuss.
I'm just going to show one thing and maybe ask if anyone knows anything about it. I was visiting a friend in Ottawa last week, and he's beginning to clean out his workshop, and he gave me two of these. This is the quick starter version, plus he has a homebrew version. Anybody know what this is?
No. Got a laser on it.
This is an old school 3D scanner.
Oh, wow.
Has a high definition camera, a couple of red line lasers, and a rotating turntable. So anybody familiar with these things?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. Anybody have one?
No.
Okay. I've been trying to get it to work. The software that is provided for it that runs on Windows refuses to talk to the Arduino Uno that's on board or the camera, despite my best efforts and all the documentation I can find. So I'm looking for anybody that may have a clue. We'll see. That's all. That was all it is. It's a relatively poor 3D scanning capability. Takes an enormous amount of effort to calibrate them. Photogrammetry is a far superior solution these days. But I thought, what the heck? Since I was given a couple of them, I'd see if I can get one running. So far, no luck. That's consumed too much of my time this week.
John Kay had, God, what was it? I think it went with an Xbox. It was a sensor, like a depth sensor. And you could,
Connect.
Yeah.
Connect, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how well it worked, but you could do like a bust or something at someone's shoulders and up, and basically they'd set it up, and you would sit on a stool that would rotate, and you would slowly rotate around, and that was the mechanism to do the 3D scanning. You pushing yourself along on with your feet. So.
Yeah, in fact, he did a scan of me many years ago when I first got my 3D printer, and said, "Here's your challenge to do on your 3D printer," and it was the bust that I had on my little robot.
Oh, was it the same one? Wow. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked pretty good. So I guess it would make holes in your head, though, right? It wouldn't necessarily scan the top of your head, depending on the angle that it's for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. They put a hole in your head.
Yeah. So
these days, a photogrammetry app on your phone is going to do better job than those older scanners.
Way better. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if my phone has such a feature.
Yeah.
Well, mine doesn't have such a feature, but I was on Easter Island and took 30, 40 pictures of a MUI and used that to put it through a program and generated a 3D print of it.
Yeah, I remember those.
When were you on Easter Island? That's a trip.
Way back when. It was just shortly after the last tree was cut down.
It was probably about 10 years ago or so.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a culture that didn't plan ahead. You know, it's like, okay.
No, it turns out that they didn't chop down all the trees. What happened was that the rats that came to the island ate all the small tree,
Oh, like saplings or whatever.
yeah, saplings or whatever,
Ooh.
and wiped out the forest that way.
Yike. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Tom. Be curious to see how you make out getting the software working. And
we'll see. It's on the back burner. I really do need to get back to work on my big outdoor robot. Everything is sitting here. I've got parts organized and plans half drawn, and I just need to get back to work on it.
me too. Same problem.
I did spend some time. My sister-in-law bought herself a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle this week. And
cool.
My wife and I happened to be at her place assisting her with it when she picked it up. So I got to do some engineering class research on those things. It's going to be an interesting experiment for her, I think. I think she bought it more for emotional reasons rather than technical ones. We'll see how it goes.
So does she have a short commute that's covered by the electric range of the vehicle, or?
Well, she's been retired for quite a while.
Oh, okay.
She was a kindergarten teacher. Been retired for quite a while. She's by herself, lives out in the country, and thought this is a great way to, do good things for the environment and save a whole lot of money on gas. I don't think she's going to save a whole lot of money on gas based on my research, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It was certainly expensive.
Yeah.
And they tend to be problematic machinery, apparently.
Yeah.
Very complicated.
Yeah.
Relatively underpowered on the electric side, apparently, which means the gas engine runs a lot, even when you don't think it should.
Yeah, my wife has a Kia Niro, it's a hybrid, but it's not a plug-in.
Right.
And I guess to accommodate those with, dissatisfied with the combination, gas engine and electric, they have a sport mode that, kind of tries to maximize both, and, put it in sport mode, you're not going to get that great gas mileage. So
this particular unit she has is a Ford product, and it has many, many modes. And I was quite intrigued by the mode that the dealership placed it in when she picked it up, which is not what I would call particularly EV ready, because the thing has some interesting limitations that are overcome by pretending it's not an EV.
Oh.
Like I say, it's going to be fun, especially up here in the winter. I learned something new. I learned about the preconditioning issue for electric vehicles in Canada, which basically says if you want this thing to run at all well, the first thing you need to do before you start it is preheat the battery. And then you might want to preheat the cabin. So the passenger compartment has a 6,500 watt heater, space heater.
Wow.
You can imagine what that does to an 11 kilowatt hour battery. So you're supposed to heat everything up before you even come out of the garage. But if you're only using a level 1 charger, that's probably not going to work.
Huh.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be an interesting winter, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually rented a Prius several times, and they get great gas mileage on the highway, like 60 miles, per gallon. And yeah, it's not a real sporty car. It's, not going to win any drag races by any means, but it seemed more than, adequate. I think they have what they refer to as an electronic continuously variable transmission. Instead of like a traditional transmission, you can actually drive part of the gear train, and depending on the direction, you can get forward and reverse out of it. and you can get you know, a range of speeds or ratios by turning that part of the transmission or spinning that part of the transmission. So it'd be like spinning, you know, the sun shell on a planetary gear setup or something. You're gonna, you know, the output is going to be even faster than the input would be, depending on how fast you spin it. So, you know, it doesn't have gears. It just has, you know, that one setup. So, but
It's pretty cool how those work. Is that the Toyota one?
yeah, Toyota Prius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I don't know if you know, if that was a, you know, something that was patented, or if other you know, EVs use
There
that
are
kind of stuff.
other people doing it, but I do believe Toyota has some IP protection on it. I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought, okay, that's how you're getting the 60 miles per gallon.
Because they're doing that in like race cars now.
Oh, are they?
Certain experimental electric, yeah,
Huh.
race cars are looking into that now.
Wow.
Supercars.
Yeah. I know they for Formula One, for a while there, they were using flywheels and spinning them up and using that to, you know, for quick acceleration, you know, whatever mechanical energy was dumped into the flywheel on braking and then given back on acceleration. So guess you wouldn't want that thing to come loose though, you know.
Yeah, the ones that I read about for those are like spinning so fast because otherwise you have to add too much mass.
Yeah.
And they're very sensitive to mass. But then you get real weird gyroscopic effects. So,
Yeah, it does. I wonder if the car tries to, what do they call that? Precession, you know, where
yeah.
it tries to.
It's like it'll turn one way better than another and stuff like that, or
mount it the right way and it'll just go in a straight line.
Or to lift the nose or whatever. So
yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to. We thought about a plug-in, but I think kind of the idea of the plug-in I thought was, you know, you have a certain commute and you can do it on electric. You know, you get there, you can plug it back in, you know, and use electric on the way home. So you're using very little gas most of the time. So
it makes more sense for purely dedicated electric vehicles, but I don't know.
Yep.
Well, like I say, it'll be interesting to find out what her experience is like in the next year or so, especially going through the winter time. Her commute is basically the 10 kilometers into town for her errands and for her social gatherings.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes.
Well, that's not that bad.
No question.
Tom, what make or what model was it? You said it was a Ford, but what model?
It's a 3-year-old Escape.
Ford Escape.
Yeah.
Okay, Ed was asking.
So do you have a backup battery that you can take to her car to get her home?
Well, that's what the gas engine's for.
Oh.
It is a hybrid.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
It's just a relative to normal hybrids. It's just a little more complicated.
Yeah,
because it's got the charging mechanism built into it as well.
Yeah, I have a Prius Prime. It's a really good plug-in hybrid.
Yeah, friends of ours have a Toyota. No, is it a Toyota? A RAV4 hybrid, and they're comfortable with it. It gets noticeably better gas mileage than my Subaru does, but I wouldn't say that it astonishes me. So.
Yeah, we've rented those when in Florida when I go to visit my stepdad. We got a little over 30 miles to the gallon, which, you know, I thought was okay.
I don't know whether anybody's validated the liters per 100 kilometer number that the car supplies, to see if it's valid or maybe marketing biased a little bit.
I went on a 5,000-mile road trip and got about 60, maybe 59. Yeah. miles
In your Prius though?
Yeah, Prius Prime. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically it was running in hybrid mode because I never plugged it in on a road trip.
That's good. That's
Paul's here.
Because you only get like 30 miles for a full battery. It's great for in town, but not for a road trip. So it's just in hybrid.
okay. Well, that's really impressive numbers.
Yeah.
I think Paul's ears were burning. That's why he's joined.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Paul, I was telling the group that I made some modifications to the motors and put a Polulu encoder with it's a quadrature and it's got 10 ticks per wheel. It's not soldered in yet, or glued in, but so, and I have a little cap to go in the back and cover the 2 motor wires and the 4 encoder wires. Can't talk right now. Okay. Anyway.
On an airplane.
He looks like he's in an airplane. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said. Yep. Must be nice. Shutting off again. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it in the chat. He posted in Discord as well. But the power lunch, yeah, Ford's Garage on the Sunday at noon. So be sure and email him if you want to RSVP.
Uh-oh, he froze.
He froze. Thumbs up. The other one I posted, Ed had sent 3 videos a while ago, and I didn't post them in the last few meetings, so I posted them in the chat. If you guys want to copy the links and check them out. I checked out the first one, but I can't back up the video. It just wants to play right away, so I'll let you guys play those if you want.
I have a question for Kareem.
I'm here.
All right. So I don't know if said on the call what sorts of subscriptions you have for AI coding tools, but with everyone having now switched over from the heavily subsidized subscriptions that used to be there to more usage-based, actual cost subscriptions, has that hit you very hard, or how are you managing? 'Cause I know you're a power user. That's why I'm curious, right? I could imagine you're burning through like hundreds of dollars of worth of tokens, every month or something like that.
It was a bad thing to stay on per token plans for a long time. I mean, people were warning you off of that almost a year ago on Claude. I mean, it was just so crazy expensive. So it was better to go ahead and invest. If you knew you're going to use them, invest in the monthly plans and make sure you hit your limit. But you just got to find the right level. And so it's definitely more affordable that way, but it's not cheap. So I still have I have ChatGPT at $20, and I have Claude or Anthropic at $100 per month, and almost all of my work is on Claude.
Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, and I remember that now.
4.8 is a beast. It's just so good. I wish they had a $50 plan. I can't drop back to the $20 plan. That won't do it. And once you get above the plan's allowance, you either get blocked or you have to buy batches of tokens, and then they become really expensive tokens again.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so in a way, it still is subsidized if you get on the plan because they want to have that long-term,
Mm.
more dependable revenue stream, I think.
Okay. So I guess, all right. So maybe what I'm thinking of more applies to things like the GitHub Copilot plan that I'm on, because that used to be heavily subsidized. For $10, you get to fire off 300 prompts or 1,000 prompts if you use a smaller model. And it
Right.
didn't matter. It didn't matter if that prompt resulted in 1 second worth of activity or the model literally working for an hour, right? And cranking out a whole Tetris game for you or whatever, right? The
Sure,
prompt is
sure.
a prompt. So that's what I mean by it was so heavily
Yeah,
subsidized. And now GitHub switched over to usage based. So with my $10 GitHub Copilot subscription, right now I get $15 worth of credit. You pay exactly as much as you use, and then it's going to drop down to
right.
$9. It's promotional right now. I guess I don't know how all the other subscriptions work because I don't have a Claude subscription and any one of those. So
They generally have a blend of things. So you're typically not paying purely per token. It may be a blend of requests, but then it gets more complicated when you have when you tell like the thinking. If you use like think harder or think maximum type things, then they have sort of a different rate to it, but they kind of hide it from you now, at least on Anthropic side. It's like, there's all these thresholds, but you don't care that much as long as you stay under it and but they even have like weekly limits, because what a lot of people were doing is sharing accounts, and
yeah,
and then they'd see, and because with Claude you can have multiple conversations going at once, so I'll have like 5 different sessions open with different conversations of different scope and different context windows, but so if I do get into too much simultaneous usage, then I could get caught by the weekly allowance.
I see. I think that's probably how it works with my Codex or with my OpenAI plan too, except I'm not using that for coding activities. I'm just so used to GitHub Copilot and its agent and how it works. So even though technically I have another subscription, that I'm actually not taking advantage of that.
I stopped using. So I recently gave up my Windsurf subscription. That was only $15 a month, but they got bought out by, what are they called, Devon or something like that. And the whole thing, their whole business model was to like replace coders, and so I didn't like that much, and I wasn't getting much use out of it. Originally, I was a big convert. Basically, it's a version of VS Code that's customized for, and the nice thing is that you can select any model you want, and so different models from different providers even might have different promotions, and they might have different multipliers of the monthly allowance you get on the $15 plan. So it could get pretty squirrely, but it's a nice way to like experiment with a lot of different things. But I kind of even gave up on the whole idea of, like, I still use VS Code to edit code and documents, documentation and stuff like that. But I don't use AI in that context. I just use Codex, not Codex. I use Claude Code, so in a terminal, and that workflow seemed really backwards to me at the beginning, but it really purifies the experience and like lets you just focus on the flow of what's going on. So it seems to work out for me. So I still like, so I'll have I'll have Claude Code in a terminal, maybe multiple terminals, and But I can review the code using VS Code.
Yeah, I see. I see. Yeah. It's just that because I know on multiple occasions I have recommended to people like that were using just purely the free version of Copilot. I have been telling people, like, just go to do the $10 subscription. You know, then you get a lot of value out of it. And again, now that $10 subscription, it's just nowhere near as much value you can get you can get out of it. It's 1 second. I just wanted to share something if I can figure out how to do it. Okay, hang on. And I guess, like, again, for the $10, like I said, you used to be able to fire off 300,
Queries.
300 prompts of the good model, like a GPT 5.4.
Right.
And it didn't matter if you had low reasoning or extra high reasoning. Didn't matter. Prompt is a prompt. Or you could fire off like 1,000 prompts of GPT 5.4 mini or Claude Haiku 4 point something, right? That would cost a third. And again, if the prompt ends up producing like tons of output, it didn't matter, right? The prompt is a prompt. And once you run out of your 300 prompts, okay, well, you have it. So now you get these AI credits, and I haven't used it yet at all this month. So I just did something trivial here. I needed to blink an LED. I needed to try this Pomeroni tiny 2350 board that I've been wanting to play with. And so just so you get a sense of what it now costs, right, to ask it to blink an LED, that request cost me 12.3 credits, and every credit is a penny, basically. More or less. There seems to be still some accounting issues because it's telling me I just spent 12 credits worth of, credit. But down here in the accumulator, it says, well, you've used 16 so far out of your 1,500. So I don't know where these other 4 credit went. So I'm noticing that at work also, because that's what we're using at work, that switchover has taken place. There's some accounting issue. It's like you think it's telling you, I just used 100 credits. You look at the other thing, well, you actually used 120 credits. So I think they've got some issues to still iron out. But the point really is here, now you can have a sense of how much it actually cost me just now, right? To have AI write the code for me that's blinking an LED, and it's somewhere between 12 and 16 cents. And if you do something much harder, much bigger, it's pretty quickly you get to a point where a request is gonna burn 100 credits, $1, right? No, $1 here, $1 there, another $1. So before you know it, if I were to heavily use this at home right now, I'd be burning through my 1,500 credits fairly quick. So
yeah, it scales pretty rapidly with the complexity of what you're working on, because that just requires much more context and token usage, and it's like a compounding effect.
Yeah.
And so you gotta be careful. And if you pay per token, it's just that's the worst way to go. But
and that's what this effectively is, right? They're basically saying they're gonna pass the actual per token cost on to you. In with your $10 subscription, you get, let's say, $10 worth of token usage. If you want more, pay more, and it's just no longer subsidized at all. Zero subsidizing. At least in GitHub Copilot, right? In that subscription, it's just straight through pricing. You pay what you use, market value of the token, so to speak, market price. Yeah.
I did notice that Claude AI, the free version I've been using, the web version, has gone down drastically in how much time I'm available to use for queries. It basically throws me out the other day and said, hey, I had to wait 6 hours to continue what it was working on.
Wow.
So it's the free days are over. It used to be I had to wait, 10 minutes, and okay, off you would go, carry on. But 6
Yeah.
hours now.
Yeah, it's like it's now they got everyone hooked, so now they're gonna make everyone pay because again, it worked previously. The requests were on the same model as I was explaining. You had X number of requests, but it wasn't even capped, so you could really hammer away all day long if you wanted to. You know, I have no idea how many dollars I burned through on the previous model that we had, and now, you know, at work we have a fixed budget of X number of AI credits, and when you're out of budget, you're out of budget. You better have a you know, you better have a real good reason to be asking for more. So it's you can't, I guess what I'm you can't just experiment as much anymore because it's going to cost actual money. Right? Previously, oh, let me try this. Let me try this. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really cost me anything immediately. You know, now even at work, it's like it's eating into a fixed budget that I have. So I gotta be paying more attention to what I'm actually using it for and how many credits it's using up.
It was a loss leader for a long time to get us hooked. They've proved that it's a valuable thing, and they've demonstrated the reason to pay for it. And so, I mean, it does make you more efficient. It just does.
Yeah,
It's like Japanese cars, Korean cars, same sort of thing. You know, introduced at a lower cost, and then people like them, and you know, whoop, the price starts to ratchet up.
Yeah, well, subscription. Look at Netflix. You know, how many years ago was Netflix $5 a month? And you know, now I don't know what you guys pay, but in Canada it's $20 for no ads. So,
yep,
it's everything goes up, up, up.
Don't we sound like a bunch of grumpy old men?
Yeah.
Well,
I want it cheaper.
So, Chris, I'm kind of curious. What is your AI budget for like a year at work now?
I can't say actually. At work every individual has a certain budget, and it's much higher than what I have in my $10 GitHub subscription. But then again, it's like there's sort of a pool of credits, right, that's handed out, and you know, so I don't know exactly how it works, right? I mean, at a big corporation, how they're going to have their contract with Microsoft. I don't know the details. So, but right now I have a budget of 25,000 credits, so $250. Well, that's promotional period. So just like in my personal account, I have 15,000 right now. That's going to drop down to 9,000, right? Because it's a $10 subscription, so I'm going to get roughly $10 worth of credits. Right now, you get a little extra because they're trying to kind of, you know, soften the blow a little bit. So at work, I get $250 worth of credit right now. It's going to drop down to 150, but you know, we'll see what the data says. You know, because it's like 3-month period that GitHub is doing this promotional extra credits, and you know, again, but it's really
they're just trying to get you hooked, and then once they get you hooked, price goes up.
I just know that if you're really leaning into it and cranking out actual work, it's gonna burn through cash real fast, and you know, I don't have a good sense right now because again, the way the accounting worked previously, it wasn't really telling you. But right now, I know. Every time I do something, I know, okay, well, that just cost me $1, right? Oh, that just cost me $1, right? So I'm gonna have a better sense of what it's gonna cost. So at some point, I can go to management and tell them, oh, look, this $150 that you're giving everyone, it's just, it's not gonna go. That's gonna be enough for a week, maybe, or maybe it's, you know, it's really, I don't know yet. So we'll see.
And of course, you know, your annual performance review, they're going to say there's going to be a new category. How efficient were you with your AI budget? How many lines of code did you generate that actually were useful, you know, for X amount of dollars, you know? So.
Yeah, it's going to go from you're not using it enough to you're using it too much now. You're relying on this too much.
It's quite possible, exactly, that it's going to pivot that way. Now that the bean counters are going to start to pay attention.
Well, hey,
I'm-
how many credits replace a programmer, right?
Yeah, we have still a long way to go. I mean, look, we're in a heavily regulated industry. This isn't for some of the stuff we're working on. And again, it's a lot of companies, in places like industrial controls, right? It's going to be a fairly slow adoption rate. I mean, where I'm personally leaning heavily into it is more like tools. And I personally don't usually write production code anyway, except in some rare circumstances, but I do a lot of stuff around just the production of code, whether it's just specs. Sometimes I do a lot of specs and concepts, but I also just do tools and test infrastructure, anything just to make things go smoothly. And so in that area, right? I mean, no one gets hurt if the AI screws up, so to speak, right? You can crank out tools real quickly that help you test your stuff, that help you visualize data, that sort of thing, right? You can lean in really hard and don't have to worry about breaking something that the humans have built over the last 20 years. So there are lots of cases where it's a no-brainer, right? You just want to do it this way. You don't have to worry about breaking something, hurting somebody, and it's faster.
I was reading an article a few days ago that said how to AI proof your programming career. And the bottom line was, go get a business degree. You want to be the one making the decisions, not being the subject of them.
That's good.
I'm glad I'm retired.
Yeah, I have to say, I wouldn't want to be a fresh out of school engineer at this point.
Yep.
Well, thanks for that question, Chris. It made for an interesting topic, and we're all trying to use AI a little more in our code development. And of course, most of us are dollar sensitive because we're not a big corporation. So it helps. See what we can do.
I still would say get yourself one of those $10 or $20 a month subscriptions, because the free stuff just doesn't cut it.
So in my other group, the Vancouver Ottawa group, one of the members is a professional software development manager for fairly big groups. And they, of course, have been using AI development tools for a while because they have to, because nobody will work for them if they don't. So he started to look at how to manage the cost of AI development tools by starting to bring some of the simpler AI tools in-house. Has that come up in any of the stuff you guys are looking at?
No, I mean, we're a Microsoft shop, so.
What do you mean by bringing it in-house?
The issue is you need to, basically these are LLM based models with access to sophisticated data structures, which can be customized to your particular applications. He's looking for internal, maybe not desktop, but right now desktop machines, powerful enough to run small, large language models and not terribly big data sets.
Yeah.
Right now he has to run them out-house. He wants to try to bring them in-house and see how they perform.
Now, once you've seen the difference, and then Karim can chime in, right? Once you've seen the difference in performance of a top tier model, right, in one of those cheaper ones, like the one that costs one request or a third of it, you get what you pay for. I mean, because it trends. Now, okay, so there are situations where a smaller model is definitely good enough, but it's then it eats into your time, right? Your time still costs money, right? So when I crank something out at work that wouldn't have ever been possible without this tool, well, it still didn't happen like that, right? You still spend time on it, and if you don't use the top of the line, well, then your probability of it not getting it right, or making a mistake is just higher. Right, so instead of a 99% success rate, now you just got a 90% success rate with every request you made, and that just accumulates, right? And so before you know it, you're just wasting your time, right? You're just constantly, giving it feedback. Well, this didn't work. This didn't work. So you're spinning your wheels. If the request that you're making, right, if the problem you're trying to solve just crosses a certain threshold where you really need to use a better LLM, but again, once you've seen some of the bigger models in action, and I tend to mostly use the GPT models. I use GPT 5.4 right now. I don't have access to something better. I just know it's just gonna work. I turn auto approvals on. I don't even. It has never. There's never done anything that's strange. Versus Gemini. Once I used Gemini, oh, it decided to not just commit the change. I didn't ask for that. It committed the change, pushed the change to the server. Hang on, I didn't ask for that. You're messing up my the code base here, right? So GPT 5.4, it gets it right. 99% of the time, it just works. It's not doing weird stuff. I just let it go. Do whatever you need to do.
You're talking about a specific use case, though. And so, but mostly I completely agree with you. It's you can't beat the frontier models, and it actually costs more to run models locally, and they're going to be necessarily crippled or special purpose. But it's actually going to cost. It'll cost you more. You won't have the monthly fees, but the amount of time you spend maintaining your own infrastructure is going to come back and bite you. And then you have also local electricity costs and things like that. The place where it makes most sense is where you just don't have internet access. So edge devices and things, or very special purpose things where they've already figured out that it doesn't need to have complex reasoning skills of a frontier model, but it's that the particular application that it's being put to is more cut and dried than that, and then it can start making some sense. But then you get into, like, if you want to totally customize it, prices go skyrocketing, because then you're getting into training, change, post training and things like that, and that's a lot of work.
Also, the costs that you and Chris have suggested you're spending don't seem to justify the kind of costs that were being discussed in terms of what a local LLM capable machine would cost to buy anyway. So I kind of wondered about the cost benefit analysis.
Yeah,
you guys aren't spending $10,000 or $20,000 a year each yet. So I kind of wondered when he started to talk about machines that were 10 times what you might pay for a desktop.
There's a more of a psychological comfort in knowing that you have access to the machine locally anytime you want. You don't have to worry about latency on your network or
I don't know whether he's worried about intellectual property security issues either.
That's a special case. Yeah,
he is in a highly secure industry, so that may be part of it.
Oh, yeah. Then you're actually willing to pay more because it's a basic function, a basic business requirement.
Okay. All kinds of choices. Like I said, I'm glad I'm retired. Back in the day, my decisions as a manager were easy. At least they seem to be, looking back on them.
Well, thanks, guys. Anyone else have something to bring up for a question or presentation? Well, I guess that's it. Guess we will call it an evening and meet up again next Tuesday.
Good night, guys.
Hey, good night.
Got it.
All right.
Good night, folks.
Bye.